Welcome to the Group Home Riches Podcast. If you have the desire to be your own boss, create your own schedule, and become financially free while at the same time helping people in need, then you've come to the right place. At GroupHomeRiches.com, we teach people exactly like yourself how to get started in the group home business. And on this podcast, you're going to hear their stories firsthand. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Group Home Riches Podcast. Now, normally we often have folks that are real estate investors. They have a large portfolio. Maybe they have 5 to 10 group homes rocking and rolling. Today's guest, I wanted to do something a little bit different. We have a rising superstar within the private school group. And I saw this post that said that she just got her first landlord to work with her. I think the folks out there will get a ton of value from it because this is one of those challenges that the vast majority of our students have. Stacy was just able to conquer that. So, Stacy, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Kind of before we get into the meat and potatoes and hear about these negotiations and your business that you are about to have rocking and rolling, why don't we rewind a little bit? Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what were you doing before you got looking into the group home business?
Okay, so about myself, I'm a nurse. I'm an LPN, and I've been in nursing for almost 15 years. And then also, I do have a background in real estate. I was a agent, a realtor at EXP Realty for about 2 years, and I'm in the Baltimore, Maryland, the DMV area. And when I was working with EXP, I was doing rentals. I was doing rentals, and actually, I was promoting the lease to own, lease with right to own or right to purchase program with Home Partners of America. So I was doing the marketing on that, and then I was actually marketing on Facebook and getting the leads, and I had converted several of those leads to rentals, and then we actually converted one of them into a buyer, and I got them. I represented Home Partners who bought the house on behalf of them, and then they did that lease to with right to purchase program. So that's kind of the background that I have. So I have some real estate and some nursing, which I thought would be really good for a venture like this.
Yeah, exactly. Now, were you strictly doing the agent side of things, or did you get into investing yourself as well?
So really, this has kind of been a journey because I
Yeah,
was
of
doing.
course.
So really, I started off wanting to do the investing side of it. And, I was pursuing wholesaling. And the thing with wholesaling is I like wholesaling, but wholesaling is kind of it's challenging to get the property. I did get a couple properties, but it's challenging to you have to buy that property at the right number, and that's kind of the challenges that I was having doing the wholesaling, because really you need a budget, because I was doing like direct mail. You
Hmm.
need a budget for that. To float that for a while, you need numbers, and then you really need to you need to know how to buy that property to whereas it's, you have enough on there for the investor. I didn't know how to buy the property at the right number, and that was my challenge with the wholesaling.
I'll give you a trick. If you're
Mhm.
not like grimacing when you're giving your offer, if it's not an offensive offer, it's not low enough, which is it's extremely challenging. So you did get a couple properties under contract, it sounds like.
I did, but I had to let it go because I didn't. Nobody else would pick them up, so I
Yeah,
bought them too high.
yeah. Very common mistake, challenge, just part of the game. That's all a numbers game. I think you were in nursing, but you were obviously kind of driven to like entrepreneurial stuff too. It sounds like, getting into real estate, wholesaling, eventually us. I think wholesaling is one of those things that a lot of new entrepreneurs get into, which
Mhm.
I'm one of them. So that's what I started doing a long time ago. But yeah, I don't think a lot of people understand how challenging it is and how competitive it is and how very little sellers are actually in that market. It is literally a needle and not a haystack, but a needle in an entire field. Like how many letters were you said you were doing direct mail? How many letters were you sending out?
I was doing the postcards.
Yep.
So I would send out, I don't know, like 1,500 or something like that. And I maybe floated that for, I don't know, maybe like 2 or 3 months. That was actually how I got, this is when I was in Virginia, and that's how I got that deal. But he was an investor. And I got it through, I believe I got it through the postcards, but I didn't have, you got to have a budget. When you're doing that direct mail, you got to have a budget and you really got to, you need the numbers for that and you got to float that at least for a good 6 months to a year.
That's the dirty secret that none of the gurus will tell you.
Mhm. Yeah.
In theory,
And it's a secret.
yeah.
It's a secret after you done spent all the money.
Exactly. And the thing is, a lot of people don't understand how big you need to go with your marketing. So when I was doing it and I was bootstrapping it, I didn't have as large of an organization as a lot of the, bigger corporate ones had. And I did a lot of marketing on Craigslist, which was essentially free. But my cost per deal was around $4,000 and change. Now, my competitors, like the larger, kind of corporate groups, they would spend around $10,000 per deal in marketing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's wild. So if we have people listening out there you're interested in real estate, you want to get into it, don't get it. In theory, you can invest with no money out, no money down, right? That just means you don't have to purchase the property. But if you want to do consistent deals, you need to purchase a whole lot of marketing material, virtual assistants in order to do that, and in order to do that consistently. And it's competitive. You're competing with large organizations. Like me and Andy are the small people. You have much larger organizations that are just have an army of agents on their side, and they're literally spending, you know, tens and tens of thousands of dollars per month in marketing. So little inside glimpse into the real deal with investing for folks listening out there.
Yeah, yeah. And then that's the then too, you're spending money if you don't really understand that you're spending money on the coaching. So I was spending money on that. So you're getting the coaching and that, the coaching's not cheap. You're spending the money on the coaching, you're spending the money on the marketing, and you really, when you're bootstrapping it, like you said, because I'm still bootstrapping. I'm still bootstrapping. So once you get into it, you realize you do need a little bit more capital, especially for when you're trying to take those ventures on with the wholesaling and the other sides of real estate.
Yeah.
So I like this because this was more budget friendly to get up and running.
Yes. So let's get into that. I'm guessing that when just judging off of the background and what you've told me so far, that when you heard about this, it
Mhm.
probably it probably spoke to you. You're probably all right. This is it because you get to help people, which you're obviously drawn to with the nursing side, but then it
Mhm.
also kind of it scratches that entrepreneurial itch and real estate itch that you have had as well. So tell us about that. How did you find us in the first place? It's not like a common thing that you just see pop up on TV.
Actually, what really got me on this path was the cash flow quadrant book. So I was given that book. Actually, my ex-husband made me read that book. He kept saying to me, read the book, read the book. So I read the book and it had changed my mind. It had completely changed my paradigm because before this, my goal was I was pursuing the RN program. I'm an LPN now. And my plan was to become an RN and then do the whole legal nurse consulting. This is before I even realized that there was other ways to make money. So
Right.
I read the book, and in the book, Robert Kiyosaki was saying real estate in a business. So that was really what put me on this journey. And I have worked in group homes before.
Okay.
So I found, yeah, I've worked as when I was doing CNA work, like nursing assistant. And then I've worked in nursing homes as an LPN. I still do that now. So I always had to want to kind of do my own thing. And I found out about you all, I believe it was like in 2018 or 2019, when I was Googling how to start a group home.
Perfect.
So, yeah, I was on your email list. I was getting the emails and the follow up and all that, but I just felt like that wasn't the right time to pursue that. And I said, you know what? I was doing something else. I think that's when I was doing the wholesaling. Maybe before like I've dabbled in some network marketing ventures as well. So I was pursuing something else at that time. And I said, you know what? I'm going to keep this. And then at a better time, then I'll go ahead and pursue this. So I found you all through a Google search,
Yeah.
how to open a group home.
That's one of those things that we target, people that search that exact term. So you probably saw one of our little the Google ads. Perfect.
Yeah, yeah, your marketing is on point.
Just curious, and that's really like if you get the gold course, we really hammer that marketing's key for every business, which we'll get into. You've obviously learned that. I'm just curious, what were some of the things that held you back? Did you think that it was gonna be very capital intensive, or did you think you needed to go through the licensing process, or was it you just
I think I was trying to get something up and running first. And then I said, when I have more time,
Mhm.
I would do this. And I think that's around the time I was doing the wholesaling. And I had moved to Virginia Beach for a little while. So it was somewhere in that point in time. And I just felt like, you know what, this is cool. When I get more time, then I'll pursue this.
Okay. So you've been following us. You
Mhm.
you did you go ahead and get the gold course when you first found us, or did you put?
No, that was on hold. I just knew on hold. I just knew that you all existed.
Okay, cool. So it's something that something you were considering for quite a while. When did you make the decision? Okay, I'm gonna pursue this whole group.
So this was February and of this year. So this year has kind of been a challenging year for me. And I mean, I'm on the tail end of it now, but I'm still, dealing with it. So my situation, I'm kind of, in between, life is happening. I'll say it like that. Life
Life
is
is
really
life in.
happening. Life is happening for me
Life
right
is
now.
life in.
Yeah, yeah, very much so. Very much so. And I said, I was just asking within myself and said, dear God, please, like, I need a way for me to make some extra money right now. And something just came to me and said, you know what? The group homes. And something just spoke to me like, you know what? Go ahead and pursue that whole group home that you was talking about. This is kind of the time for you to do that. And then I opened up my YouTube, and this is when your video had come on, and I listened to that video. It was one of your it's like a 20-minute or an hour, 45 minute, one of your broadcasts was on.
Probably
And
probably one of the webinars when we just go through like the whole like the most common questions probably.
along those lines, yeah.
Yeah,
And it was just the encouragement, like, you know what? Oh, that's what's up. And I just felt like because I had asked for it and I literally had opened up my YouTube and your video was the first one to pop up. And I
beautiful.
feel like
That's
that was the confirmation.
this has become a reoccurring theme on the podcast that me and Andy call it the God smack.
Oh, for real.
So yeah, for the
We're being
folks that
loyal.
are the new people out there, I'm guessing you probably saw like a clip of something similar to this. So a lot of people have those first common questions like, you know, what license do I need to get? That's a very common misconception, is that people think they need to go through that licensing process to basically become a nurse and provide like the healthcare that you used to provide or still do as a
Mhm,
nurse in a group home. So that's
mhm.
one thing that we go into, and then just the basic kind of systems that we teach. So very cool. So you got into that. Did you have those kind of questions and like fuzziness about the whole business before you got started with the gold course too? Or did you kind of know it from working in group homes yourself?
I already knew it. I just needed to know how the business part of it would go. So
Yeah.
I already had the ideas in my head of how I wanted to running. I just needed to know the business aspect of it. So then listening to your podcast and listening to the video, that was just more like, okay, it's $200. And it was just an inspiring video. And I was like, you know what? Oh, this is cool. Like I can go ahead and I could jump on this. And because really what I was doing before I said I'm gonna purchase the course, I was pursuing network marketing, and I'm trying to make that work and bringing the other nurses on. But what I like about, and I'm still working that, but that's so contingent on other people because other people need to see the vision and want to get on and all that. But what I like about this was that this was something that I could control, and I
Mhm.
needed a way to get something going that was going to take me off that med cart and wasn't going to be contingent on other people, which is why I said, okay, let me go ahead, like this is the time. Let me go ahead and get this up and running. Because in the video it was saying like 2 or 3 houses and people were replacing their income. So I was like, all right, boom, if I can get a couple of houses going, then I can come off this cart. And it'll all be based on the things that I'm doing. So that's really like what appealed to me about just, I'm just gonna focus on this. This is gonna be my main. I can get off the cart with this, and then I can pursue the other thing. I can bring on the other nurses once they see them having some success with this venture.
And that probably sounded like a lofty goal when you heard it on that webinar or in the course. But now that you've kind of gotten the ball rolling, do you see how that's a very realistic goal for first year, right?
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
you can now see how you could get, 2 to 3 properties, and that's not, it's not a, how do I say it? It's not easy, but it's very, very realistic, right?
Yes, because people are, you don't have to convince people about real estate. You don't have to, people are already, when you say to them, hey, I'm doing a group home, and, or, when you're talking to the agencies, and even when I'm talking to these investors, they already kind of knew about this business model. So some of the investors were already interested in it and knew of it. It's just the fact that I'm mentioning, that I'm coming to them about it now. But I don't have to, the credibility is already there. People already understand it. You don't have to, as opposed to like with network marketing, it's a harder sell. So this because it's already, what's the word? It's already like it's
Proof
already co-signed.
It's like they already have a little bit of a proof of concept because they've been doing their research about it. It sounds like
Yeah, yeah.
that's
So
something that's new. I would say that's new within like the last year or two. When speaking with investors, I'd noticed that a lot as well. A lot of investors have actually heard about this, probably like through sober living. Like there's Pace Morby. Do you know Pace?
no.
He's a
I
big
mean, I may have in just passing or like on the
Probably
internet.
you definitely would have come across them, during your your wholesaling research stuff, but like he's getting into sober living, even your guy here, Kiyosaki. It's one of his favorite strategies is assisted living. I don't know if you knew that.
He was with you all come up with the residential assisted
Yeah,
living.
Gene.
Yes. Now,
Yep.
and when I Googled, I found them too. And you all are more on the lower end in terms of the type of clients because we're reaching out to people who have the SSI and the SSDI and more guaranteed, like, government funding or program funding. And
Yep.
then on their end, they're more higher end to where this is not private, this is not government funding. These are people who you're doing more high end um,
Yep.
services
They
for them.
teach it's right in the name, Residential Assisted Living Academy, which is
Yeah.
a one specific niche, a specific licensing process. So great services that they offer, but I found that once somebody, once most of the people we talk to, once they understand the differences between the business models, they'll usually go with us. But if there are
This is an
people out
easier
there
sell.
that are they want to go the licensed route because they understand the advantages, they do understand the challenges that are going to come along, 100% check them out. Great company, great people. Um, but to back to kind of what we were talking about, it is something that investors are becoming kind of educated about already, and they're if they haven't, they're interested in it, and I'm
Mhm.
guessing we'll get into that, and I'll tell some stories as well regarding that. So let's see. So you maybe sounded around February, you started to get back into it. That's probably when the Godsmack happened in February, it sounds like.
Yes, yes. That's exactly it.
You got the gold course in March. Um, kind of just studied. You were still working full time at this time, right?
I'm still working, doing
Yeah.
this. I'm working full time and started doing the program, like how you said.
So I would say, yeah, just how you said, you started marketing in May. So I would
Hmm.
say that's when you made the decision. All right, where I'm actually starting. And as you know, that's to it sounds kind of counterintuitive, but that is the first action step that we take, or we recommend taking for most people, depending on the situation. So
Hmm.
if you see I have the beginner's guide pulled up in the gold course, obviously, and we're not going to get into it on this podcast, but we have, YouTube videos and this quick one at the beginner's guide. You need to understand like the basics of the business model. If you're confused about the basics, then we don't expect you to start marketing your services, right? But we do recommend you start marketing first, which is kind of counterintuitive. Before you found us, did you think that did you think that you needed to have the house or houses, you needed to have it set up and everything before you started, marketing the services?
I don't know if I really thought about that.
Hmm.
I just knew I wanted to I just knew that I liked the business model. I knew that I could be a better service to, I can still enjoy the parts of nursing that I like to do, by providing the housing and still being able to work with those types of, that demographic of people. And I liked the fact of, the real estate side of it. So I don't
Hmm.
think those little details I was too worried about, or I don't think that like was a point of concern in the very beginning. When I listened to your video, it just all made sense. And then because
Beautiful.
you broke everything down in that video, so when I bought the course, I already had it, in mind because everything was in that video,
Love it.
that you have
All
on
right.
YouTube.
Because I know that's one of those things that hold a lot of people back. We get a ton of inquiries about that. Hey, how do I start? I don't have the money to purchase a home, so I'm kind of at a standstill, right? So I
Mhm.
love that you just kind of jumped in. You're like, I'm gonna figure it out. I see what they're talking about. So let's just get into it and follow the steps, which is beautiful and what we recommend. So guys listening out there, you see the gold course. You don't need the gold course, okay? It's meant to help you. Um, as you can kind of see here, the first step is just to kind of figure out the business model, understand the basic concepts. We just lay it all out for you, and then yeah, if it is for you, we really break it down in our free 5-part course, which you can get for free, and you just join that at grouphomeriches.com, and then see if it's for you. Which Stacy, you went through that, decided it was for you. You started marketing in May.
Mhm.
So let's get into that. What do we mean? What do we mean by marketing? How do you market a group home business when you don't have a group home? Like what break that down for the folks that are listening out there. When you say you started marketing, what does that mean?
So, really, the marketing is to build our contact list and then going through, even though I started in May, you all had said about getting the website together.
Mm-hmm.
So, I am working on a budget, working with a budget. So, really, what I did was I said, well, um, you all had stressed about if you're going to be talking to these agencies, you have to come to them with the website. That was very important. So I said, you know what? I don't necessarily have the big budget, but I can at least go ahead and I wrote all of the copy. I kind of just mirrored what you all have, um, your website. So what I did, with some of the real estate background that I do have, I had done coaching before where she was telling us about doing video. So the things that I was doing as a real estate agent, I said, you know what, like the logo and all that, I was doing that as a real estate agent. So I said, you know what, I could just kind of re-strategize my real estate from being an agent and put it into this. So I already had like the branding and the colors and everything. And I said, you know what, I can just go. I went to Lead Pages, and those first 2 months of getting the course and realizing you do need the website, I said, okay, I'm going to do the videos because I realized that that would help me stand out. I said, I'm going to do the videos. So I sat, like right now, with me lifing, I'm living in a hotel. So I did the videos on that wall. I did them myself on my phone. I went to WeVideo. I recorded, or I did the edits. It took about 2 months to put everything together,
Mm-hmm.
so that I can present to these agencies as this is something like legit. Because if you want $1 million business, you got to present it as such. That's my frame of mind. So
It took
once
you
I got
it took you about two months working on the site. How much all in did you spend on the website?
Lead pages cost me $100 a month.
Okay.
Mhm. Um, so it's $100 a month for the website, and then the WeVideo to do then that's like $50 a
All
month,
right.
and then that's how
We're
I
talking
was
about.
able to do the video, to do the video, and then Canva, because that's where I get the pictures, and that's how I did my outro and things like that. I did that on Canva. Um, and this is the stuff that I like. I like this stuff right here. The marketing, writing the copy, and do all that. So, and I went to write the copy. I got a website. It's a marketing website that you can go on there and you can put your copy in there, and it'll give you the emotional, marketing value of it. So these are things that I've just done over the
Okay.
years and just practicing my copy. Because copywriting, if you know how to write copy and do sales letters and all of that, that's writing your check too. Um, so everything I just all of the text on there, I just put my thoughts together and just typed it out, and then did it like that. So all of the copy has been. So I just put everything together. Like this is just on me, right now. So it took me
Now,
about,
when
like you
you're
said.
when you're talking to the caseworkers, the nonprofits, and people that we are marketing to, which I'm going to show the folks that we'll do that live here in a sec. How important was it to have that website?
Oh, 100%, because they've told me that they've gone to the website, that they looked at the videos. I think is absolutely important. I think it gives you credibility,
Yeah.
because when they, especially like with these bigger agencies, it just makes you more, especially if you don't have the property, you have to give them something tangible. And then they share the website as well, because I've had people share the website, and then also that helps your business because then you can get some leads from Google and things like that with your SEO.
Yep.
So I think that, and I, even though it took me 2 to 3 months, I said it's like a one-time thing, because once you have it up, you put a little bit of energy into this and making that really, really, nice. And then that sets the tone for your brain. So I think people deal with you differently as well too.
Well,
Um,
what's the first thing that you do before you purchase something? Before you purchase a new product or service, what do you personally do?
You going on that website or you're Googling.
Have have you ever had the experience when you're looking for a local service or something like that and you find something close to you and they don't have a website?
Yeah, it turns you
What?
off.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
Even if you're not conscious of it, what are like the immediate first impressions that you have of those businesses that don't have a website?
It makes you feel like, is this a business for real? Because we're
Yeah.
just so used to the like, that's like your front, that's like your storefront is your website.
Yeah, so it seems like kind of bare minimum unprofessional, but I am almost like suspicious of them. Like, is this a scam? So, yeah. So, guys, Stacy's website is beautiful, but really the main point why we stress the website is is just to avoid that impression that we just talked about that I'm sure everybody out there listening has probably had before in their life, right? So we want to avoid that. So we're going to be we're going to be sending emails a lot of times to these caseworkers. And as I think you just said it, what was the first thing that they did before they hopped on a meeting with you or agreed to meet up with you? What did they do?
Check out the website. They checked out the website. They've looked at
Yeah,
the videos. Yeah.
exactly. So guys, you can bootstrap it if you really are, working with absolutely zero, that's fine. You don't necessarily need this. You could just, talk to people on the phone and let them know, hey, I'm thinking about starting this business, and then you can kind of still follow the same script. But yeah, definitely highly, highly, highly recommended to get a website. You could bootstrap it like Stacy did, and then we do offer website development as well. Um, Again, it's a little pricier, but it'll save you a ton of time.
Mhm,
So if you have the money
mhm,
to pay for a shortcut, feel free to inquire about that. So, all right, so you got the website rocking and rolling, looking beautiful, and then again, back to the beginner's guide. The first thing is to like, all right, who are we marketing to? You probably know because you're from, you work in this industry. So when you heard it, it probably would click for you really quickly. But I'm gonna kind of show folks out there. Where are you located?
I'm in the Baltimore DMV area, DC,
All right.
Maryland, Virginia.
So, and you guys can do this wherever you're at, ideally close to like a major metropolitan area, but this is one of the keywords that we talk about.
Mhm,
I bet you will find some that Stacy might be familiar with.
mhm.
I have you had any, do you have any contacts directly with the government yet?
I have the Veterans Administration more towards PG County. I have some behavioral health agencies in Baltimore. Um, I may have one on that website. I'm not sure. And I think I have one or two homeless
Oh, here we go.
agencies in Baltimore, but a good chunk of the response that I'm getting is PG County and Anne Arundel County.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just asked because usually the first ones that pop up are the government agencies, but they're a little more bureaucratic and takes a lot like time to kind of navigate that system and actually speak with who you want to talk with. But I'm just showing on screen. These are the types of organizations that you're going to want to be marketing to. So, and I'm just curious, what did you do for marketing? Did you pick up the phone, smile and dial? Were you emailing? What was that like once you got the
Well,
website rocking and rolling?
on your course, you said about the emailing people, that's what you did. So you had several templates that you put up for us, how to email people. So I just combined a couple of your templates and then put my own wording to it. And I
Mhm.
said, I did the building the list out, like you said, going on the doing the keywords, and I would just hang out online and then scrape these sites and look for their emails.
Beautiful.
And I took it and I have like a whole spreadsheet. I do have numbers, but because like for me, because I'm working, I still, do my nursing job. I didn't really have the consistency to do the calls. I did hire a VA in the beginning to make some calls for me. They actually did book me a couple of appointments and then he flaked out on me and then I hired someone else and then that didn't really work out. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to stick to the emails. So I built out my list. I have about 380 emails right now. And I took your templates for the newsletter and I every Tuesday now, um, from May to now, I just send them a newsletter and I just, talk to them and say, this is what we have coming and tell them a little bit about our services. If, perhaps you're working with someone who needs housing, our demographics, our seniors, veterans and disabled adults. We do, it's utilities included. And then I have a link um, for more, if you want to talk about your housing needs, feel free to book a 15-minute call. And then that goes to my Calendly um, for them, to book out a call with me. And that's how I'm getting the calls from the agency. They're booking the calls
I like
through
that.
my newsletters.
Cool. So you're being completely upfront. As you guys can see, she's not advertising that she has all these homes and everything like that. She's just being very upfront. This is what I plan to do. We're looking to partner with you. This is the type of framing that you're going to want to have when you are speaking with these organizations. Very cool. So you make it nice and easy for them to book. I love that. That's a great idea.
Thank you.
What has been the response like when you're speaking with these organizations? Are they grilling you about what type of license that you have? And are they tough calls? Are they like those old wholesaling calls when you were trying to get a motivated seller and they were telling you off and swearing at you and gonna report you and stuff like that? Or what's the response been like?
I've had a great response. I get a better response through the emails
Mm-hmm.
because these are people that if you're booking the call, obviously you want to talk to me.
Yeah.
So I like the response that I'm getting through the, doing the emails. When I had the first VA, he was booking calls for me. I think with the VA, because they had the accent, I think that was making it more like a telemarketer kind of a thing. So I wasn't getting a better response with the other two that I had hired. But now when they book a call with me through my emails, I've had some great conversations, even to the point of the Veterans Association, they have invited me out, or the Veterans Administration, they've invited me out to one of their like a leadership meeting or whatever, and he's been keeping in contact with me. I keep in contact with them. So they've been great calls. They tell me about their service. They ask me whatever questions that they have. I will ask them about the type of clients that they have. Um, and ask them a little bit about their demographics. I ask them about, what type of funding do their clients have. I let them know that we are looking more for the older clients. Ideally our demographic is like 50 and over, single adults. Because we have had some requests for like families and things like that, and that's not necessarily a part of our business model. And I let them know that we're just really looking for the older demographic, and they've been good calls. They've been very good calls, and they're excited to talk to me, and obviously I'm excited to talk to them. And I just tell them, hey, listen, we have properties coming. And up until I really partnered with this investor, I would tell them we have properties coming. Right now we are building up our wait list. This is what I tell them. We're building up our wait list right now, and we are securing property within the next 4 to 6 weeks. And that's what I was putting in my emails. And then when I talk to them, I'll let them know, because they may ask, do you have a property coming up? And I just let them know right now we're building the wait list, because when we get the property, we want to be able to fill the property very quickly. And so it's not sitting. And that always makes sense to them. And they're always, they're cool with that.
Yeah.
So that's how I've been navigating not having the property until, I connected with this investor.
Now, now that you've kind of gone through the process, do you see why we recommend most people to start kind of doing the marketing and what you've been doing before you go out there and get a property?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the smartest way. Because you don't want to get the property and then have it sit while you build, because it takes a little while, like you all had said in the course. It takes a little while to build up that relationship with these agencies. Um, so you do need a little time. And I think that's very smart how you all tell us to do that. Build up those relationships and build up those contacts and let the people know, hey, listen, we are securing property. We just want to make sure that we have people to fill the homes when we actually, get the property.
Yeah. So this is a very realistic glimpse into what a lot of the folks out there will probably need to do, especially if they're, you know, working full time, they don't have a big budget, or they don't have a team already to be doing all the back end stuff that we kind of talk about in the gold course. So very realistic game plan for you guys that you can follow out here. Okay. So you started marketing in May, and then it looked like it took a couple months before you were confident enough or felt like, all right, I have all these contacts, they're booking calls with me. Uh, they're probably are that were you starting to get follow-up calls from your contacts like, hey, do you have a property yet? Because I need to place somebody. Were you starting to get inquiries like that?
I was getting emails. And
Yeah.
that's when they were starting to give me names and tell me, oh, so and so with their family. And this is when I had to filter down the conversation and let them know that we're just doing single adults, and kind of just reiterate to them, so that they know that this is, our ideal guest. But
Hmm.
yeah, I was definitely getting a few emails to say that we have so and so in mind. And yeah, so. Mhm.
So I recommend people to do kind of go through that process till they feel like, all right, I need to get a property. So it looks like that hit you in August.
Yes, that's exactly where I got to where, because you can only tell them I'm getting the property for so long, you
Hmm.
know. So when I started DMing people in August, this is when I had spoke to maybe 3 or 4 agencies in PG County. I had already talked to some agencies in Anne Arundel County, um, and I had talked to some agencies in Baltimore. So I had like 3 areas. Oh, in Montgomery County, I had 1 or 2 agencies with a need out there. So at this point in time, I was starting to feel, definitely more confident. Like, especially out in PG County, it's time to start talking to the investors, because I figured it was still going to take a little time to start marketing to them to actually get the house. So I was trying
Yeah.
to time it for October.
It actually it didn't take that long. It doesn't. So the post was 2 weeks ago. So it was only a couple weeks of looking for investors, it sounds like, before you found one that wanted to partner with you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Beautiful.
he was like on my first round of
Okay.
DMing people. Mhm.
So all right, beautiful. So again, let's go back to the gold course. So we have like we've talked about these marketing calls. You guys can listen to them in the gold course to kind of hear, live marketing calls, kind of hear how they are. Then we have this stuff in here about how to work with investors, basically. We have a really good longer webinar that kind of breaks down how to find them, what to say to them, and stuff like that. And that's what you started to do in August. It sounds like you were DMing them. So where were you finding the investors?
On Facebook, in the real estate groups local to me.
Nice. So uh, Yeah, we recommend. Did you go to any of the meetups in person, or were you kind of held back from the by the job to do that?
Both. I did go out to the RIA meetings, exactly, meetup.com.
Yep.
Um, I went to a couple meetings, and what I found, there wasn't, I think Corona kind of changed everything. Like back in the day when we were going to the RIA meetings, there were more people, and then I think people just got used to doing it online. So there's a couple real estate groups, but then with work, sometimes that gets in the way because they do have, like, when I filter on there, I'm just looking for like in-person
Yeah.
groups. I'm not so much of an online person. I think online because I'm DMing people, but those groups, I feel like you have to meet people in person, um, as opposed to, because if they have the meeting online, it's hard to message that person during the meeting, as opposed to if I meet you in a group on Facebook, I can DM you, and then if you're interested, we can talk offline. These groups, and I've seen her, yes, yes, that is
This
one
is
of
the
the
one.
groups
This is
that
the
I
one
have.
I would go to. So they usually do them at like restaurants or bars. Sometimes
Yeah.
there's some munchies. You could tell a lot of people go to it.
Mhm.
Uh, this is the one that I would go to, but
Okay.
might be held
And
back
I,
by the schedule.
yeah, and that's exactly it, because I've seen this group. I've seen this group. And you're right. And then that's something like that I would definitely be um open to. And this is why I'm doing this, because I want to be able to do the networking like this.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to, I'm trying to free up my time and get off the cart so that I can, because this is going to be the biggest thing, going to these groups and networking with the investors, and then two, letting people see your face, because sometimes you got to go to the group and then you got to check out who the players are. So you
Yep.
got to go a couple times to see who are the real people who have the properties and let them see you so that they know, oh, okay, just what is it like? You're just building up over time as people see you.
Yeah,
And
you'll build not just the landlords, but you can find people that do loans, so people that actually do financing, construction folks, wholesalers, so you can find off market deals. Uh, this is where you can really find a large segment of your team if you are looking to kind of scale and grow like a full blown organization. So, uh, and I can tell you the response has definitely changed over the past couple of years. I remember I remember when I first was this was back in the wholesaling days, so probably like 7 or 8 years ago, something like that. I remember being at a meetup and somebody pitched this. Like, when you go, well, sometimes you go around like the room and you give your little elevator pitch.
yeah,
I didn't know what the guy was talking about, but I remember it now. Like he definitely was talking about something similar to what we do. And the, the investors like laughed at him. It was brutal. I felt so bad for the guy. Now, when I went to one recently in Dallas and told people what I do, I had a line of people that wanted to talk to me. They've all heard about it. They're all curious about it. There's so many advantages to this type of investing compared to the typical landlord thing that when they see somebody like you that wants to operate the business or they talk to you on Facebook, I bet you they're pretty pumped to hear more about what you were doing.
yeah. Actually, the message that I send, because actually, I have a new investor who responded to my DM today, so we'll be talking after this call.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
yeah, he's a real estate investor, he said, and he knew about kind of this model, and he had been wanting to do something like this. So he said he's definitely open to having a conversation with me as well. So investors are very open to it. I actually had a call with another, like I was telling you in the email, the head of one of the local RIAs out here. He is familiar with the concept. They're having someone come in and talk to their group. It's more of a corporate site, though. I think he was saying shared pad or something like that.
Pad
Where,
style.
yes,
Yep.
yes, yeah, yeah. So that's more on a national level. I'm trying to do more local, but
Mhm.
they're already aware of the concept. And he was saying that he had left rentals alone for a while, but he's thinking of getting back into rentals, and he would be open to, working with me and kind of me doing I'm offering. You just get the property, let me put the people in there, let me do the tenant placement, and then also with this demographic, I would check on them and things like the other things. Because this is what I'm telling the investors. Like, hey, listen, I have a background in nursing. You can't just you for in my opinion, especially when you're working with the seniors, the veterans, and the disabled adults, you just can't put them in the house and leave them alone. You're still gonna have to
No,
check on them.
absolutely not. That's that's where
Yeah.
you hear like a lot of nightmare stories from. So let's
Mhm.
let's get into that. Let's start with so you're finding them. So guys, I show you this is just real estate meetup group, and they all do stuff online as well. So there's a lot of Facebook groups, a lot of websites. Um, Probably Facebook is probably the most popular one for online.
Mhm.
So you joined the real estate groups. Probably there's probably a ton of them in your area. Did you do
Mhm.
any posts, or was it just the private messages?
It's just the private messages. I had been going to the meetups even from before.
Okay.
Um, but then when Corona hit and everything, and then just lifing, I
Yeah.
kind of got away from that. But when you all had suggested in the course and then on your YouTube videos too, because you all stay in my feed. Every day I see your shorts and I
Nice.
watch your shorts for like motivation and things like that. Um, so the meetups, I'm just like I said, I'm just starting to get back to the meetups based on my schedule. For Facebook, it's easier for me. I'm already a member of several groups locally, and I just go to the people, and I don't put post up. I just go on the back end, and I
Mhm.
just, kind of sift through people who have either real estate in their description, like like your title or whatever. If it says real estate investor or real estate agent or someone who looks like they're doing real estate, I will message you. And so I do maybe like 30. I try to do 30 a day. Because if you do too many, then Facebook will block you. And that's happened too. So you have to kind of, because the Facebook thinks that you're moving too fast,
Yeah.
they block you for a day and a half.
Out of roughly like you could just guesstimate out of 30 messages that you send, how many people reply back that are curious about it?
About one or two.
Okay.
So I've had I want to say 6 or 8 calls, return calls, or no, is it 10? And I've taken calls with maybe 6 people so far. A couple of them in the beginning kind of flaked out because in the beginning I was just sending a message,
Yeah.
right? And then I did get some responses off of the message, and then it was a little bit of running around. And then you stopped talking to me, so I left it alone because I'm not chasing people. But
Love that.
someone did respond to me though and said, "Hey, do you have a website?" And then
Mhm.
this is what dinged to me to say, you know what, put the
Nice.
website in the message on my investor site.
Yeah.
Um, so I put the link to the investor page in my message so then they can go on the investor page and now I get better quality leads because they've
Very
at
cool.
least looked at that and said, oh, okay, and then they're responding to me now. And then I believe that link was in there with the guy that I'm working with now, the investor, and then the other investor who I'm meeting later today. That link was in there. And then I took another call with someone else. So I have a couple people or a couple of investors who know about what we're doing. They're excited. They're just in the process of getting property, but they know, we've talked about kind of what I'm looking for, and they're open. So they're like some pending. investors.
Beautiful. Let's kind of zero in on the first one that you're partnering with.
Mm.
Um, Forgot to ask you before we went live. How are you doing on time? What time's I know you got another call. What time is that?
That's at 4:30. Oh, so I'm
Okay.
good. It's 3 o'clock now.
Okay. Perfect. So you messaged this guy in one of the groups. You included your website link. He responded back. He was interested. Do you want to give the folks an idea of what are you mentioning in that first DM that you're sending out to everybody?
So I took it from the messages that you all put up in
Okay.
the golf course.
Perfect.
And I just kind of template because you had said give them a little bit of background about yourself and something else. So I say, hello, I greet them. Hey, how you doing? Hope today is well. I do say I appreciate your time to read this. And then I put in there to the point. And then I go into the spiel and I talk about like what you had said about affordable housing. As you know, in the DMV area, housing is, an issue. And then it goes into about, I've come up with, I'm right now working on a new real estate niche. That's kind of the verbiage and how property owners can 5 to 10x their property, kind of what you had said in there. And then I let them know I'm currently talking to agencies who have clients that they need to find them housing. I let them know that interest is growing in Prince George's County, in Anne Arundel County, and I'm looking to partner with, one or two or two or three local pros. That's what you had said, and I put that in there. Like, I'm looking to partner with some local pros. If you have a vacant property or something that will be vacant, so I put that in there. And then I do tell them I do have a background in real estate. And I tell them that I was an agent. I did work with EXP for 2 years. And I let them know a little bit about what I did in that time that I was working with rentals. And then I closed a lease to own property just to let them know I'm just not, just a little bit like a credibility kind of
Yeah,
a
of course.
thing. So they're just not thinking I'm, some lady off the street. Um, yeah, so and I put that in there, and then I'll put, hey, here is a link to our unique partnership. And that line, I put it through the analyzer. And that line, that's a very high converting line. And I put that in there and they can go and click the link and that's how I've gotten my responses.
Beautiful. Yeah, so guys, maybe this is the first time you found us.
Mhm.
There actually are a ton of advantages to this business model compared to the typical real estate investing landlord route. Um, I mean, in fact, being a landlord is tough in my opinion. I don't think most people shouldn't invest in real estate on that side, especially if you're
Mhm.
looking for cash flow. It's surprising to a lot of people that don't know real estate, but most of these landlords, their goal is to make $200 or $300 per month.
Mhm.
That's best case scenario. That is insanity to me. And they're often not making that.
Yeah.
So when they see somebody like Stacy that says, "Hey, I have a strategy that's going to possibly, up on this is average. Like it'll 10x the cash flow of a typical rental property. We get guaranteed checks from the government. We have way more control over the property. And on top of that, you don't have to do anything. I'll do it. I've done
Mhm.
all the research." So this is why we spent so much time on the beginning, because most of you folks are not in the position to work with a landlord. You need to do the groundwork and the foundational work that Stacy did to be in a position to even say the script confidently and honestly, right? You want to be to the point where you want to be a good partner. If that landlord works with you, you are cool. I have all the contacts, I have my wait list. We're going to fill this up in the first month and we're going to be making money. So even if you can hey, I'm willing to give you $300 more per month. You just doubled their profit. And on top of that, you won't get any maintenance calls. I'll handle all the maintenance. And there's just so many advantages when you guys give them the script from the gold course and do everything that we lay out. It's a no-brainer if to most investors. So, and as you guys can see, Stacy followed it to a T and added her own little flair to it. This is awesome. This is a great idea. The partner tab on the website. So why don't we just kind of go over so they can see the avatar of an investor that would want to work with you. Tell us about the investor. How long have they been investing for? How many properties, stuff like that.
So, this investor, he's a realtor.
Mm-hmm.
And when I contacted him, he has the two properties, but he was already researching this business model.
Nice.
He had just started doing the research and he wanted to convert his current properties over to this business model. So when I contacted him, he was like, okay, that's cool because I was already thinking of doing something like this. So when we met, but now I already have started building these relationships. This is the part where he said today that he likes that I'm an asset, I guess, to him
Yeah.
because I've already built out the relationships with the people. He just started, I think he has like one or two leads, but he would rather me take over and do like the tenant placement for him and do the handling the people part of it. So the zhuzhing with the agencies, because once you get the agencies and they start placing people with you, you still have to zhuzh them and you still have to, maintain that relationship and build that out. So he wants me to maintain that and then overseeing the people to whereas I'm gonna, just go and, visit on a weekly basis, just like check-ins with everyone. So I'm offering that to him. And for him, he was just really what he wants to do is just do the property side of it. So that was what really appealed to him and with what I'm bringing to the table, that I can handle this side of it. I can do like the property management side of it. And all you got to do is just get the property. So really a typical investor, the people who have been responding to me, they're either agents and they have their own properties as well, or they're simply investors, real estate investors. Um, I think to me that's the ideal demographic. Um, I like real estate agents, but real estate agents with an investor mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Who, they have their own little portfolio as well. And so if you look like you could potentially have property, you're getting property soon, I'm emailing you. And that's how that's my mind frame.
Yeah, it really is. And you hit the nail on the head. You are an asset to them. So anybody that does what you did, they lay the foundation, they have the contacts, they've done their marketing, they you actually it's typically two exactly different personalities. So you enjoy working with these demographics. You kind of want to be hands-on probably a little bit.
Mhm.
You want to help the community. You have that's probably what drew you to this in the first place, was helping the community, right? Whereas
Yes,
the
absolutely.
investor, like, let's be real. If every single investor, if they could just be 100% passive and make money on their real estate, that's their number one goal. Everything else is a bonus, right? And
Yeah.
what you do as an asset is you make them more money with this business model, and it's much less passive on their end because you're going to be doing all the managing. It's a it's a perfect win-win if everybody holds up their end of the bargain. So beautiful. So that's the first guy. And you have you have a call today with another person. And it sounds like you have a couple other investors that they're at least like interested in working with you.
Yeah, yeah, and I will continue because my mindset is you got to keep, I mean, I have one fish, but I got to keep fishing. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? So I got to keep putting because things, as we know, like especially with real estate, things happen, so you don't put all the eggs in one basket, you don't count all the chickens before the check come, so yeah, I can my goal really is to get 7 properties going by the end of the year. So I have to keep just continuing to reach out to other investors and keep talking to people. But this was a good hit. This was a good hit, and I was out there with him today. He invited me to come out and look at the property because he did have a lead for today. He did have an agency who wanted to come and see the property. So he invited me to come out with him as well. He was very upfront about that with me and said, "Hey, listen, I was already talking to an agency, but I want you to come out and meet with us as well and look at the property." So I said, "Okay, fine." So he did introduce them to me as I have titled myself as the administrator and the director of services.
beautiful.
So yeah, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm bringing the people in, and the other bonus that I do offer to him is that and to other property owners or housing providers that want to work with me, because I am a nurse, I'm telling these agencies, hey, listen, we just provide housing, but if your clients need additional services, because I can help coordinate that. Like I really promote to these agencies that I can help you, caseworker, because I am a nurse and with my background, I can coordinate bringing in those third party services like the home health aide, like whatever therapies that they need so that you can help your clients remain independent and help them maintain their independence to stay within the community. That's the part that I'm giving to the investors because you all don't want to do that. And you necessarily, and that's what I was telling him because it's just like the administrator, a lot of times people it's very business minded when you're doing things like this, but it can't you still need that humanization part of it. And that happens a lot of times like with assisted livings and nursing homes. You have administrators who are very business mindseted about it, and they're just about the numbers, which is fine. But then when you're dealing with people now, and especially people, with special needs that need a little bit more empathy, you need that part, and I can bring that part to you as the investor. So you just give me the property, and then I'm going to do all of these other things. I'm going to go in the house every week and make sure these people are good and make sure, a little bit of supervision. We're going to have some structure for them. I'm gonna, update you on the property and make sure these people are not tearing up your house, and I can be your boots on the ground. And then you all had said about, like the house coach or whatever, I'm telling him that this is what we're going to do. So I have like a contact person there, and I can do all of these and then still maintain the relationship with the agency because that's a zhuzhing part too. So all of those things that the investor would have to do to be able to really make this work, aside from doing the property, I'm saying I got that for you. I can do that. Just, give me the house.
Yeah. And once you lay it all out like that, it's a no-brainer. Like there's no investor in their right mind is going to turn that down. So I hope you guys all took some notes or rewind it back because you just saw that's I couldn't have said it better. So that's what you want to be. You want to be communicating these things to both parties. And again, you guys could try to kind of remember what she said and might get lucky, but this will not work unless you've done the foundation and you can say this stuff confidently. So you do need to put that work in the beginning, whether on the organizational side for your marketing, and then on the investor side if you guys are going to want to work with landlords. So beautiful. I want to kind of go through. I did a search in the school group for landlord, and I want to just kind of want to go through here and find some good questions, and maybe you can help answer them. That's cool with you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Because
let's do it.
and as you're going to see here, this is a very, very common question issue. There's 30 pages that we could go through. We're not going to do that. Um, but yeah, so here's stuff like this. So just kind of the details a little bit. So working with a landlord, just trying to figure out the rental agreement. So have you guys drafted up an agreement yet? And what does that look like?
That's a great question. So, right now we have been talking, um, yesterday we had a good conversation and it needs to go down on paper. But we have been discussing terms.
Hmm.
So at this point in time, because when you don't really have property, and like you said, we're starting this like bootstrapping.
Hmm.
And so I have to be flexible. I think when you don't, and if you're just trying to get a win, you have to be flexible. And that's what I'm willing to be with him. So he told me since he was already kind of doing this, he really wanted me to just do like the tenant placement for him.
Hmm.
And then when I told him I can offer these services and that I was looking for something a little bit more like a monthly, because he wanted to just pay me like per bed for getting the people in there. But I
Hmm.
said to him, you're still going to need like the management part of it because you just can't bring these people in the house and that's it. You're still going to have to, and he's all the way out in Charles County. So, and this is in Baltimore. So it's like an hour drive.
Yeah, good,
So,
good move by bringing that up to him.
so I'm like, listen, I don't necessarily need all the money. Like I knew where he was coming from it because if he was already looking to do it, um, why partner with me? But when I said to him, hey, listen, you're gonna have to still manage those people. I can do that part for you. And then bringing in the additional services, I can do that for you as well. So what we've kind of come to an agreement is that I will bring the people in. I think, like I said, um, and I will maintain a relationship the with the agencies, and then he's gonna get a majority of it, and then I'm cool with some on the back end. So that's the things that needed to be put on paper. But that was a discussion that we had last night. So it's been an ongoing conversation. I think you need to see what that investor wants to do and then kind of see what your budget is. If you have the money to give them, because what I was doing was going on Craigslist before I really started hitting these investors up on Facebook. I was going to Craigslist and like homes.com and Trulia and all that and looking for properties and contacting the owners directly. And I did get some response like that, but those properties, those landlords have urgency and they need to get that property rented now. When
Mhm.
I'm talking to landlords, I'm telling them, hey, listen, I need 30 to 45 days. Give me 30 to 45 days to get the property filled. So when you present it to them like that, you have to be more flexible because now we have to find off-market properties. So if you don't really have a whole lot of money, I would say be flexible and be willing to offer them more of the tenant placement. And then you have to give them a bigger chunk because he was going to keep the bills in his name. He was going to keep the water and all that. And then I just come in and then just handle the people for him. So since he was still kind of carrying, absorbing that part of it, and I'm coming through with the people, I was letting him because it's the first property. Was like some of nothing is better than all of nothing, or some of something is better than all of nothing. And especially because I've been telling the agencies we're getting the property, we're getting the property. So I just wanted to be able to show them something. So in terms, so it can be flexible. So now that we've already met and I've reiterated to them, like, I've reiterated to him today, like, listen, what role do you want me to play with everything? So now I can go ahead and write up a little something for him. And really, you can go on um, Google a contract, like an agreement, and kind of just come to terms on that and be as flexible, in my opinion, be as flexible as you can be. Now, we're not doing it for nothing. And you need a landlord that or a property owner who's going to be not, who's going to be mindful that you're still putting in work because you're coming in with all the agencies, you're coming in and you're willing to manage the people for them. Because if you're a busy um, landlord or agent, you don't have time to be going in that property once a week. You don't have time to do all of the customer service stuff that we're willing to do for them. So you got to put some value on that. But until you can get your assets together to buy your own property, or at least put down the full month's rent and the security deposit, because that's what, if you're getting the property on Craigslist or one of the on market properties, that's what those landlords want up front. They may work with you, but they want the money up front. I didn't have the money up front, so I have to be more flexible and talk to people on the back end.
100%. So everything up until this point, guys, whether you even if you have the funds to purchase a property, I recommend you still do the foundation, everything that we talked about up until finding landlords. But whether you want to rent from a landlord or partner with somebody, everything up until this point is the same exact process. So you're looking to partner with the landlord or / investor just because of funds, right? It doesn't sound like you have the budget to pay that first month's rent, the furniture, and a possibly second month too, right? Because it could take a couple weeks before you're really cash flowing, consistently. So this is exactly what you do. You guys just heard from Stacy exactly what to do if you want to start this business with literally zero out of pocket.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Besides,
Yes.
besides the gold course, the school group, right? But other than
Yeah.
that, you're not putting any money out of pocket to start the business.
Yeah. And then I tell him too, and that's the flexibility. This is why I'm not pressing him. I'm just cool that you're giving me that you're willing to work with me at this point in time. And then what I do tell him is that we can do I told him that I tell the agency it's a $500 because you're talking about furniture.
Mm-hmm.
So what I had planned on doing is, and what I told him, we're gonna do the tour, let people come in, see the property, and then if they like it and they want to apply for it, there's a and they get approved, there's a $500 admin fee. Take that fee to move in. Take that fee, and then I tell them with that fee, they're gonna get like linens. I give them a little something with it. I say, hey, you're gonna get linens and some stuff to make you comfortable, like bed linens and maybe some pillows or something like that. And I said to him, you can take that $500 and go buy the furniture. And then that's when you go to the Goodwill and the consignment and all that, because you figure if you have a 4 bed and you're putting 2 people in a room and you get that $500 deposit and you wait till you get that deposit to go buy the furniture. And that's what I was telling him. So then this can save us some money. This is how I was planning to, be resourceful with my budget to whereas, all right, we can just furnish the property as we get the deposits and we can use the deposits to furnish the house. So that's what I presented to him as an idea as well, that we can do it like that. So then that was just adding value, like, hey, come work with me. Like these are because
Yeah.
he had not thought about that part of it. So when I'm coming in and I'm feeding him ideas like, hey, listen, this is what we were already gonna do. Then he's like, oh, okay, cool. She already has that part figured out. And that's saving him some steps, and I'm educating him on how to do the business as well.
Yeah, you
From
guys are
my end.
you're seeing real life examples of bringing value, being an asset. You're making it to where he can literally just be the investor. He hadn't
Yes.
thought of these things. He hasn't done the legwork or as much legwork as we typically recommend in the gold course. If he were able to get people in there, it might have been a little messy. So he's lucky that he found you. And that's the point you guys want to be. That's the point you guys want to get to. It's not about some magic pitch or getting lucky with a landlord that's going to give you a property, right? It's about put in the work so you guys can do and say the stuff that you're hearing Stacy talk about confidently and honestly. So we kind of covered this already, but it's a good question. How do you get past the property manager or answering service? The short answer is you need to go directly to the investors. That's why we recommend the first thing we recommend is your inner circle. If you guys just kind of go through the mental Rolodex, you probably know somebody that invests in real estate, or somebody that knows somebody that invests in real estate. I recommend starting there. And then from there, go to like the investor meetup groups that we talked about, directly to the investors. And then after that, you can also be doing Craigslist, Zillow, etc. But yeah, you kind of did you deal with this issue like on Craigslist or Zillow and getting past property managers or anything like that?
They were the listing agents.
Yeah.
They were the listing agents, and absolutely, like you said, you want to talk to the actual property owner. Now, with talking to the listing agent, I feel like you can, but you got to have the money up front because they're not trying to hear all the little the extra stipulations like, oh, you need 30 to 45 days and all of that.
Yeah,
I feel
exactly.
you can do that, but you got to do that with off-market properties, with like DMing people in Facebook. If you really need that time because you don't necessarily have the money to front them up front, then I think that has gone over better with saying, hey, listen, I need 30 to 45 days to get the people in there. That's gone over better with them. But if you find a house like on Trulia or Realtor.com, and those properties, for the most part, they are going to have the listing agent who's promoting the property. But like I said, you have to come to them with that money. They want the money all up front, and they want to run your credit and do all of that. So I think you can, but you got to be 100%, like all your ducks in a row, because they're just trying, they're happy to get. And then on top of that too, those properties, there's a lot of competition for those properties that you're funding on Realtor.com.
Yeah, and
So,
the property managers and agents, they were hired by the owners to just find the most qualified person that's going to get in there and pay market rent. They're not
mhm,
necessarily looking for, new business models, no matter how good your pitch is. Then you need to rely on that property manager to remember everything that you just told them and then sell the owner. So it is possible. We do have I've heard of clients that have done this. I personally recommend avoiding it.
mhm,
So just
mhm,
go directly to the investor. We have a really good video in the gold course called How to Work with Landlords. And I do this live where if you do exhaust your resources and, there's no meetups or something like that, whatever, and you want to do Craigslist, I kind of show you how to find like a stressed out, motivated landlord, a real landlord, not an agent. So that's what I recommend if you are going down that route is
mhm.
watch this video and you'll see me do it live where I can kind of tell that it's not an agent and it's a stressed out landlord. It's it's kind of funny because you could tell in the ad, you can tell how stressed out this guy is. That it's it's just an old landlord. He's sick of doing it. He posted like a quick ad, and you can tell just by the copy that he's stressed out when doing it. That's who that's who you're looking for if you go down that route. But yeah, I recommend just not doing that and doing exactly what Stacy did, and which is finding the landlords and slash investors directly. Oh, what is this?
Who has 42 properties?
I know I recognize Delia. She has at this point, I think she has one or two properties, but this is good. All right. I like this question. Lynn, I think she answered it in the question. But have you spoke with someone that all right, so landlord one wants to limit my occupants, check her landlord rental history, very nosy, wants to know the plans in detail. So he's kind of skeptical, it sounds like. He's gonna probably
Mhm.
enforce like rules. He's probably gonna want a contingency plan, maybe more money. What do you do if you have you come into contact with people like that yet? Kind of
Who
have that
want the rental
attitude?
history?
Yeah, they're
They
just a
wanted
little more
rental history.
they're a little more skeptical.
They're more those are the people like what you're the question you have now. Those are the people that you're dealing with, those realtor.com homes, those that are on the market. Those people and like you said, those are property management questions and criteria. And me personally, I wouldn't even because you're not gonna be flexible with me, and then you're gonna be a PIA for everything.
Bingo.
So you know, me personally, once you start talking about all of those things, now, if you're all the way there with the credit, and if you have the money, yes, I would consider it. But if you're questioning the actual business model, and if you're giving me a hard time about the people, with the amount of people, that's not going to work. I think just for that point, because the point is to maximize the cash flow, and you can't do that unless you maximize the people that you can put into the home.
Yeah.
So,
I like what you said earlier about the something to the effect of you don't chase people, right? So if you guys do, and this is just kind of a what's it called? Limited mindset. So people that don't have options, maybe they felt like they got lucky, like, oh, I have this one landlord that's at least curious about it. But yeah, like you said, they're going to be a pain to work with. Um, yeah, so Delay actually she answered it here, in my opinion. Landlord two is laid back, excited about the program, allowed me to tour, right? He may want a little bit more, uh,
mhm,
or not even want. That's the rent is a little bit more. So I recommend uh you're just prospecting to find someone like landlord number two.
yeah,
So yeah, so I recommend don't work with people that are like landlord number one. Not going to be
mhm,
fun. You
mhm,
want
yeah,
you want people that understand it, that are excited, they see the value in it. That's kind of what you're screening for and what you're looking for, in my opinion. And you'll see a lot of people in here are looking for they say they have landlords needed. They have
mhm,
absolutely no pitch. They haven't mentioned what they have done. They haven't mentioned, what the type of value is that they bring, because it's a good chance that they have not followed the steps like Stacy did in the gold course. Do not think that just because you have the property, you're magically going to get all these government contracts and stuff like that. You got to put in the work.
mhm,
I think this is a great one, and we'll wrap it up after this. This is a great question, and we could probably do this all day, but we've been going we've been going a ton of value. Thank you so much, by the way. But I know you have an investor call coming up, so we gotta get going. So, D Wiggins has been building his list. Uh, what should I have available when pitching to the landlord face to face? This is the question that I wanted to highlight. What would you want to see from a person that wants to rent your property for business purposes? So that's what he's asking investors in the group. What do you want to see? So I'll throw that back to you, Stacy. What were some of the questions that he asked of you, if any? Uh, did he mention any things that he was looking for, or what would, if you didn't say it outright, why do you think he wanted to work with you?
I think he didn't get the investors are not giving me a hard time. I think it's how Oh, that's what Krista says, the real estate coach that I was working with.
Uh-huh.
How she talked about set it up so that you win before you arrive when you were going for listings. So when you stack everything up, when you do your videos and you have the website, when you have a good message that you're DMing them, putting the investor link in the message, there are they've done enough research to where I think their guard has been down to when they come and talk to me, I'm giving them the same conversation and they're not side eyeing me. Like they've already researched it enough or they're like, okay, cool. With this investor that I have now, he already was open to wanting to do something like this. It was just that I hit him at the right time and I was already, all of the stuff that he was going to have to do, I already did it. I've already done it. So I was taking a lot off of his plate. So I think if you present some things, I think you have to kind of think about what's your strong point and um because they can figure this out on their own. Like gold courses, I mean, they can access gold course. So you really want to, in your messaging, let them know, hey, listen, I've already done a lot of this work. I've already talked to the agencies. These are the areas that are gaining interest. And that's what I put in that message. So, because especially when you're messaging strangers, you have to kind of because people get messaged every day. You know what I'm saying? So you want to give them enough for them to feel like this is a real person, this is not a spam, and give them enough credit checkers so that when they do talk to you, they're like, okay, cool, tell me what you got going on. And that's basically when we run the calls. I told them, hey, listen, I've been talking to the agencies. I've been marketing to them for a while now. I've taken calls with them. These are the areas of interest. And I'm talking to you now because, I'm at the point where we need the property. And I'm looking to, partner with someone. And I tell them, ideally what we're looking for in terms of the property. But then you have to have that conversation together too. So when you're telling them, hey, listen, we want 4 beds, we want at least 2 bath, at least. We want them in a decent, you have to kind of know your area. You want it, and so I can tell them, hey, listen, I'm looking for something like I'm okay with the city, but more towards the county, and I'm telling them, hey, like Woodlawn down to Randallstown. I'm telling them single family house. I'm running the numbers with them. I'm telling them, hey, listen, I talked to the agencies. We're kind of getting around 625, 650. This is what I'm telling them, the agencies. So they, if you're telling the investor all of this, then they're like, okay. It just solidifies, I feel like, in their mind. Okay, you have to sound like you know what you're talking about.
So you're uh
Yeah.
I love this. You're basically throughout the conversation or even on the website, if they were to just look at this before they even reach out to you, you've brought up all possible objections and or questions, and it's going to be handled before they can even ask it. Right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and I highlighted these things. Really, if you guys can want to understand the advantages and then be able to communicate it and explain it, this again, it's a no-brainer. What investor does? All right, you're going to make more money. Oh, we're going to do, we're going to take all of this off of your hands, which you've been doing for probably for free. If we're being realistic, most investors are not getting cash flow. If
Mhm.
at max, it's like $200 or $300. And yeah, we're gonna do all the work. You're gonna make more money and do less work if it comes down to it. And then yeah, if you like we've said, if you have actually done the work like Stacy did, you're being honest, you're gonna be confident about it. It's a no-brainer. So that was a great question and a great way to cap it off. Maybe we got to do a part two once you're rocking and rolling. So, and I'm sure the folks in the school group will probably have a ton of questions for you once this goes live. So we definitely got to do a part two. I remember you mentioned when you first watched that first webinar and you did the math 2 or 3 properties sounded pretty good when you first saw it, right? And almost a lofty goal. But with your new goal now, after putting in the work, after speaking with investors, we're thinking that 7 properties in that first year is going to be a realistic goal that you're going to hit.
By the grace. Yes.
There we
By
go.
by the grace. My mindset now is, we're working on our group home empire.
Yeah.
And in the marketing, because I speak things into existence. So in some of those videos, you'll see where I say we're doing properties from Philly to Florida. And that's really where I want to expand this thing out. Right now, we're doing it in the DMV, in Maryland, because this is where I'm at. But eventually I said, all right, well, in the same process that I'm doing right now, I'm looking more towards March. I said I can start doing my Philly marketing. So I want to build it out enough here. We figure get like 7 properties by the end of this year, maybe going in towards the 8th. Keep rocking it out, get solidified, because you all had said on your own you can manage about 15. And I can see that because I said if I'm touring, because I want to do it like in batches of 4. Because if you're going to visit the property once a week, you can see 2 properties a day. And then that's 2 properties a day, that's 8, right? 2 times, or that's 10. Because if you go out and you see 2 homes a week, that's 10 houses, right? So you can do 10 within a week that you're just checking on. And then you get the other 5. So then you could do 3, and that's like 3 hours because you're gonna go in, you're gonna, do a quick little walkthrough, talk to your house person, just visit with them for a few minutes, you're shaking hands and all of that. Um, I call that the zhuzhing part of it. So on my own, I would like to at least get about 15 to 20 properties out here that I'm managing, or tenant placement, or however we're structuring that and building up the capital. Then I could buy my own properties. And then that's a whole nother um, conversation. But then building it out to Philadelphia, and then because some of these agencies, they know people. Um, I will say, because I've listened to some of the calls and the people, I've looked at some of the conversations in the school group. And in my opinion, I think the caseworkers are going to be the best source of your contacts. I think that for this model, I think that your ideal business partner, just like they tell you on the other course, you're not marketing to the the senior, you're marketing to the family. We're
Yep.
not marketing to the homeless people. We're not marketing to the transitional. Our customer is the caseworker. And I
Yeah.
think if you build that, and I got that, like you all said, and I like that, and I stuck with that. So to me, it's important to build that relationship out with the caseworker and with the organization, because they will always have people coming to them. And this way, because we're not really doing, and this is what I'm telling the investors, because we're not really doing like we're not so focused on credit and rental history and all that. We need those agencies to bring people to us because they've done a lot of the vetting. And this is what I tell the agencies, that we're working with you all because you all have done a lot of the vetting with these people. And these are people who necessarily, they have to bypass like the credit and all of those things. So, with the landlord, that's good to tell them, like, hey, listen, we're building some strong relationships with these agencies. These people are tasked to have to find housing for clients. Why not work with me? Because you have to build with these agencies. This is not a one-time thing. You have to constantly judge them and build out that relationship through your newsletter, contacting them every week, and they will share your newsletter. And I put that in my newsletter as well. Hey, feel free to share with a colleague or family member. And that's like, because I have like a template. So that's always standard at the bottom of my newsletter. And then once you get these agencies and they start sending you people, you're gonna have to still build up that relationship with them. In my mind, that's, hey, once you actually start giving me clients to put in these houses, I'm gonna have to go to the agency now and bring donuts or something like that and judge. Landlords are not doing that. But as the group home person, that's what's gonna solidify, because I've heard you all say on your broadcast, once you have 4 or 5 caseworkers and they see that you produce, they're not looking for nobody else. So, but you got to build those relationships out. You got to maintain them. So for us to be able to go to these um, property owners and say, hey, listen, all of that, we could do that for you. I got that for you. I can maintain these relationships. That's going to save them so much time, because that's work. That all that zhuzhing with the zhuzhing and the people, and furnishing and all of that, like that's additional work for them, when really, like you said, all they want to do is just get the property and have it flow cash for them. So when
Yeah.
we can present it to them like that, like, hey, listen, all of this level work, you might as well just partner with me, because I have all of these contacts and I can make your life so much. I can, what is it, less stress and more money working
Yeah.
with me.
It's less work, more money. So, and you hit the nail on the head with the marketing. So I again, I just pulled it up from one of those organizations, but these are the type of people that you're marketing to. Again, not the people that are going to be living in the properties, but the people that are working for them. Okay. So, and there's a lot of zhizhing. there's a lot of back and forth. Chances are, like, the person that you're actually going to be working with directly are probably not these people that are on the board. So there's a lot of just back and forth. I know one of our first done with you clients that I was working with, I pulled up the email chain after she got the property filled. There was like 40 something back and forth emails with this, or like the email chain, 40 back and forths, multiple meetings. So that's the type of work and networking stuff that you're going to want to go through.
Mhm.
So wow, so much game. Like I said, this is why I love doing interviews with folks that are like really like in the thick of it right now, because most of the folks, if they hear someone like Andy, that's, he's got a portfolio of like hundreds and hundreds of properties, that just seems out of reach. But you guys just saw almost 2 hours of an inside glimpse into where you could be at if you started today. You could be in this position in 2 or 3 months. Just got to put in the work. And Stacy did this with a full-time job. You guys have no excuses. She had full-time job. She didn't have the capital. She did this with no money out of pocket, other than the website that she developed, the gold course, which is only $199, and a little bit of help from the school group, which is at this point, I think it's less than a Netflix subscription. It's only $10 a month. So, man, Stacy, thank you so much for coming on. I can't wait to do the part two once you're cash flowing, maybe out of the full-time job, right? Which
Yes.
you've done the math, I'm sure. How many properties do you think you need rocking and rolling before you focus on this full time?
So because I have to be flexible,
Mm-hmm.
um, because I'm really looking at them to float a lot of it in terms of the property and things like that. Um, I'm thinking maybe about 3 to 4 to 5, just depending on how the splits come in, and how, once we get the people in there, then we could kind of see how the splits are gonna go. With this property now, he said he needs about 46. We're looking at it about being like 52, depending on how we if he wants to keep, he's thinking he may keep it as a single, as private rooms, or he may do a share on it, just depending on how we work the numbers. And in this particular organization, they do have a little bit of criteria. They do prefer more private rooms, like one person to a room.
Yeah,
And
that's fine.
I was saying to him, some, it just depends the organization too. So ideally between like right now maybe 3 to 5, depending on how the splits are. Depending on how the
which
splits
is
are, because I'm
totally
being
doable, guys. Totally doable within very realistically, conservatively within those first 6 to 12 months. You guys could do that.
oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Now you see the flow of it. And once you're clear on certain things in the beginning, absolutely. Because investors are hot for this thing. Because with the RIA chairperson that I talked to, he wants me, he did mention about having me come and talk to his group of investors because they do have a shared housing program for investors
Oh,
who
wow.
like this business model. So he did offer that to me coming, but I just have to keep in contact with him and let him know where I'm at with it. But he's still vetting me now.
Yeah,
Um,
that's huge. That's huge. That's where the contacts and the opportunities are just gonna boom. Well, I can't wait for the follow-up. We definitely got to do a part two. We got to stay in touch. Thank you so much for coming on and again dropping so much game for the folks out there. And again, the majority of people in the school group, reading our emails, they're gonna get a ton of value from something like this because it's just much more realistic and reachable, guys. This is could totally be in this position within a couple months. So um can't wait to do that. We'll keep in touch. Any parting any parting words for the folks, and then let them know where they can reach out to you if they have any questions for you.
okay. Well, I would just say, stay inspired. And I know that school group has really helped me out. Because there's times when, I needed to pick myself up and I go in that school group and I look at the wins that people are having. And
Yeah.
then that helps to motivate me and energize me. And there's a lot of other people who are steps ahead of me that I've been able to pull things out of that group. That's how I got my my application process because someone had it posted in there and I went ahead and saw what they did and that helped me. So I would just say, if you're in the group, that group has been very helpful to me. And I know to a lot of other people in the group. And I would just say that this out of everything that I've tried in real estate, this to me is the best thing. Wholesaling is cool if you can get it. Doing the agent part of it is cool, but it was a lot of running around that I didn't really want to do because this right here, you can get this going. This is all right, and I think that this is the best way. I really like this business model. So, and then be flexible. I would say that because if you don't really have, this is really budget friendly out of everything. So if you really don't have a big budget to get the property, or if you find a landlord and you might not necessarily be like a 50-50 deal, you know, I would just say keep in mind some of something is better than all of nothing. And especially when you start talking to these agencies, they'll hold on for a little while, but at some point you want to produce them a house. And if the only way that you can do that in the beginning is to, you know, work with the property owner and take a little less. Don't work for free, but take a little less and give them that flexibility because investors always have properties coming in. So if you have a good experience on the one and you've made them some money, then they will come to you for it to fill another house. Then you can always negotiate a better deal and then maybe do it house to house. So our agreement's going to be on this particular house. So once they see that you can do, perform and you can get results, and then make it a good working experience and partnering with you as well. You know, be easy to work with so that they want to work with you again on another house, and maybe you get a better split on that house until you can build up your capital and buy your own property, or maybe just do a standard lease, sublease kind of a thing where you're just giving them the money up front and it's not so much flexibility. But however you got to work it, just work it and stay focused, and just know that you can. People always say that, oh, if I did it, you could did it, you can do it too. And I kind of side eye that. But no, and I've been working on this for a while. Absolutely, you can you can make it happen. And I wish you the best in that. Um, and in all your endeavors as fellow group home riches owners and potential owners, aspiring entrepreneurs. And
Beautiful.
yeah, so you can
Where
reach out to me. Thank
yeah.
you. You can reach out to me in the school group, and then Andy, you have the website if you have a property or you want to consider potentially partnering with us, with me to either, on we can always talk, research the deals, or we can always talk out the details, but my website is there and you can kind of see what we're doing, what we're offering property owners. And then also, if you're looking for housing, if you're a caseworker, then you can see our website there as well to get a little bit of background about what we do and the services that we offer for your clients in need of housing.
And we'll have it in the description for everybody so it's nice and easy. But if you're just listening, it's BogleHomeTeam.com. All right, Stacy, thank you so much for coming on, giving the people a ton of value. Definitely keep in touch, keep being active in the school group, and keep and let us know when we're ready for that part 2. I think you'll be rocking and rolling here very soon.
That's what's up. Thank you.
All right, thank
Thank
you
you
so
for
much.
inviting me.
Have a great day.